You're watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last race before the cutoff for the AOLL Cup Series. For Ghostfire Media, I'm Josh Lassen, and with me, as always, is Mr. Carl Henderson.
Hey, everyone. I am really excited to be here. I love this track, genuinely love this track. I think there's some drivers out there tonight that would probably not agree with my opinion on that.
Well, in all honesty, you've taken a love of road course racing as of recent, and it definitely helps when you're learning it and it's not just a mystery to you. But at the end of the day, a lot of these guys, it kind of still is a bit of a mystery to them.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that with some of the tire model updates that have happened in iRacing, and I was out there running practice with the guys earlier, and this car is very loose, and the track being as bumpy as it is, I mean, you'll feel fine, and then suddenly it'll just snap loose on you.
Well, and that is one of the biggest things that these guys are going to have to contend with tonight is that brand new tire model. The AOLL Cup Series has not run a road course since iRacing updated the tire model, and for those that don't know, it's a perpetually shifting landscape in iRacing where they're trying to bring things to be a little more realistic. But I will be the first to argue that this new tire model doesn't make things more realistic. It makes it just unbearable to drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a complicated balance, because even if it does make it more realistic, like I genuinely think the updates they made to the Super Speedway package is more realistic, but it's not as fun anymore because of you can't side draft in iRacing like you can in real life, as we mentioned in the Super Speedway broadcast. So yeah, they made some questionable decisions, but being the last round of the chase, why don't we talk about the bubble drivers?
I was gonna say we've got some interesting storylines to talk about right now, because the guys on the bubble, basically, this is 7th through 12th right now. We have Andrew Burgess sitting in 7th, Timothy St. Jean in 8th, Joshua Hanner and Tony Pandon are currently tied for 9th, Ed Springer in 11th, and Kevin Haas in 12th. But a number of these guys are not here tonight.
Yeah, I think we can say with some degree of confidence, unless Hanner finishes last place tonight, along with potentially someone else. But I think with some degree of confidence, we can say that Tim St. Jean, Ed Springer, and Kevin Haas are going to be eliminated.
And Tim St. Jean only has 1 point up on Joshua Hanner and Tony Pandon.
Right.
And Andrew Burgess is only 6 points clear. We also have Brandon Bernhardt, who is kind of on the bubble, but he's here tonight. He is a savvy racer. He's probably not going to end up in trouble, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, we've seen Bernhardt before. You and I have raced with him a lot. I mean, I think he's going to go out and do what he needs to do. He's got Blake Gordon in his ear, most likely telling him, like, hey, man, like, just go out, do what you got to do. Same thing. I'm sure Hanner's teammates have been telling him, don't overdo it. And Tony Pandon's probably thinking the same thing. Burgess, everyone out here is kind of thinking like this is a really easy race to just completely blow it. So I think you're going to see some of these guys be real conservative early on, and they're going to get more aggressive as the race goes on.
And I hate coming back to the new tire model. Many of these guys, the only official race that they have done was the AOLL Sportsman Series at Mid-Ohio on this new tire model. And it went from, in practice, beforehand, being a rock-solid setup to one that just broke loose on you for seemingly no reason overnight.
Yeah, and I mean, but I'll say what I've said many times before about when there's things like this. You know, I know Hannah was complaining about it earlier, maybe yesterday, but everyone's racing the same thing. So sure, it might be really loose, and you know, you may not love driving it, but it's loose for everyone. So you just got to go out there and make the best of it.
Without a doubt, that is what we're going to be seeing tonight. We joined during qualifying. There's only a few people that are currently out on track. And honestly, Mr. Brandon Bernhardt is one of them. But we can bring everything up. And Brandon currently has qualified 5th. And
yeah, there are a surprisingly large number of people that are not setting qualifying times so far. And I'm looking at someone like Joe Dinsmore, who must have had some trouble on his laps. Did a 1:49.30. Should be finishing a second lap here soon, and we'll see if it's any faster.
Well, as we see Tony Pandon set a lap and then ultimately park it pretty much immediately. As Sean Carmody is out there and someone forgot to change his paint scheme back. Luckily, he's the only Endeavor driver tonight that's running the black scheme.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Tony Pandon quitting after one lap, I mean, generally speaking, in my experience from running out here, you're not going to get faster on your second lap because your out laps, you know, basically a full lap. I mean, it takes forever to do an out lap. By the time you're doing your second lap, it's essentially a third lap, and it's you've lost quite a bit of speed. So unless you really messed up your first lap, you're not likely going to get a whole lot out of your second lap.
No, but sometimes in the situation of someone like Joe Dinsmore, who obviously had some form of a gaffe on his first lap, because a 1:49 is not Joe Dinsmore on a road track.
Well, I actually have a question about that because I'm kind of curious. So he set a time, and now he's out there. How is he able to do that? I'm genuinely not sure how that works. I would have assumed that you can't reset, right, after you've set a lap.
Well, he probably had just some form of a shunt that caused him to have to slow down, and then his second lap is essentially going to be his flyer, where most guys set it on their first.
Yeah, it just seems like a long time because he had set his first lap quite a while back, and when we got there, I mean, he was still fairly early on the track, so I'm just a little surprised by it because I was expecting him not having set a second lap yet. I was like, oh, he must just not be doing one, but
well, he could also just be out on track still running laps, and that's what it looks like it may be. He's just trying to get as much practice as he can because iRacing will not penalize you for doing more laps than you're supposed to.
Yeah, so, his second lap was a 2:06, so that's exactly what happened, I think.
Well, I think he may be trying to be sporting, and right now he's just having a little fun. But he may just want to try to work his way through the pack. He's one of those guys that's relatively in the clear tonight in terms of his position going into the next round. So why not have a little bit of fun? We have an hour and 15 minutes worth of racing, no laps tonight, which is going to confuse the snot out of us.
Yeah, it's going to make pit strategy kind of interesting. And on that topic, I mean, there is going to be a competition caution at the 20-minute mark. They're closing the pits at the 17-minute mark. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for, to see if potentially any guys decide to pit maybe at the 16-minute mark, 16 and a half, or if they're going to wait for that caution to come out and just, come in safely.
Well, we may as well just, since everybody is off the track at this point, even though it looks like Mr. Guile Brooks is currently deciding to go out there and... Oh, no, he's just sitting in his pit stall.
Oh, okay. Just he's one to get his sponsors some screen time.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen in him, we'll get to see a lot of screen time of him tonight. He should be battling, as we are actually ready to go for the race. Keep in mind, everybody that is watching, those gold highlighted names, those are our chase drivers. So that's what we're going to want to keep an eye on. So,
and just to be clear, this is not the GFM Fun race.
Oh, forgot to change that because I didn't think I was going to switch to the tower. All right, let's go ahead and run through our starting grid for the night. Blake Gordon is on pole. Justin Anderson second, Greg Wellen third, Joshua Hanner in fourth, Brandon Bernhardt fifth, Adam Wood sixth, Tony Pandon in seventh, eighth is Teddy Weichel, ninth Mike Bass, and 10th is Andrew Burgess.
All right, and 11th we have Sean Carmody, 12th Johnny Downey, 13th Blake Ziti, 14th Joe Dinsmore, 15th Chris Bassini, who I believe is not going to be racing because he had some issues with his pedals. 16th Brian McFerrin, 17th Gael Brooks, 18th yours truly, also not racing, 19th Steve Gottschalk, 20th Steve Dominy, and I'll just finish it out 21st Mike Burgess.
All right, so that is going to bring us to the pace lap, unless it would be hilarious if we had a standing start with these guys in the front stretch chicane up there. I wouldn't want to be somebody that's starting, but I know it's not. We're just waiting because we had a bunch of people who joined the session like jerks and then decided to not race.
Whoops.
One thing I will call out is I'm not a fan of the fact that iRacing doesn't have the logic in place to where, much like the actual Cup Xfinity, they don't do the first start and all restarts missing that last chicane, because we're going to get to see a lot of guys.
Oh, we're green. That was a
we
standing
are
start.
Going green. We are doing a standing start as Blake Gordon gets himself off to a great jump. I would assume there's going to be a few people that are a little annoyed by that.
Well, I would imagine there would be. That's it's kind of surprising. You're not ready for it, but I was kind of wondering if it might have been a standing start because I didn't think normally you would see them gridded out like that. Normally it'd be side by side. So, yeah, I was kind of worried that might be the case.
So I want to jump back and take a quick look. The one person that seems to have benefited from that is Mr. Adam Wood, who has jumped up one spot. Mike Bass, 2 positions behind him, has also gained 2 spots, and not being ready for the standing start, having your clutch pedal set up in iRacing, that's going to make this wholly interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, on standing starts, I don't use the clutch anyways. I mean, I think it's there's definitely some reward if you can time it right, but for me, the risk is too high. So I'm usually going to be more conservative on standing starts anyways. I think more than anything, some of these guys are probably just not ready for it.
No, but we'll go ahead as our leader is coming around to complete the first lap. This front pack of 3 is putting a little bit of gap on 4th place Josh Hanner, who's about 2 seconds behind, but I'm sure he's fine with that because running in 5th, that's going to get him into the next round.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you look at where he's at in relation to the guys he needs to finish ahead of. He's good right now, but I think you got guys like Tony Pandon who are going to be doing everything they can to get up there and try to take that spot from him.
Well, but as they run, Tony Pandon, who is back quite a ways, what we need to see out of him is he needs to get around Brandon Bernhardt. Other than that, his race is set. He just needs to keep moving forward because Andrew Burgess is currently running in 13th while he's in 8th.
Yeah, that's a good point. That could push Burgess out. If only someone had made something to show live point standings. But I think, look, if I'm Tony Pandon, if I'm Hanner, I'm not thinking about all of the other variables because there's so many things that are going on. I'm thinking primarily about I'm racing Tony Pandon. Tony Pandon's thinking I'm racing Joshua Hanner. That's really all, because those guys are tied in points. The guy who finishes ahead of the other advances guaranteed.
Well, and I want to move up to Joshua Hanner, who's the front runner of our bubble guys. He's under pressure from Adam Wood right now. And again, Adam is clear into the next round from winning last week. So he's just out there getting the experience, putting some pressure on some guys, and trying to make it so maybe some other people get pushed down while others are there. As let's take a quick look. I have first incident of the day.
Yeah.
We had Andrew Burgess end up off track here. Oh, that. That's a little more than we thought. That's coming out of turn 4, and that's right in front of some traffic. And that's going to slow down Joe Dinsmore.
Yeah, that's actually a decent amount of damage, too, that might affect the handling of his car.
Well, luckily, he does end up having that one fast repair, but Andrew Burgess right now, he's under pressure from Steve Gottschalk. And
Teddy
we
Weichels
have
crashed.
our first actual incident of the day. I'd say that Andrew Burgess's car looks fine. Let's see what happened to Mr. Teddy Weichel. It looks like he probably just blew his braking point there. Yeah.
I did that
through
a lot.
chicane. Saw a decent amount of that today in the Cup race too. So.
I said something about the start of the race and how the grid just looked a little off, and I think some of that was the offset cars and all of that. But there was something else that John Gordon pointed out on Facebook or on YouTube. There was no pace car out there. We should have picked that up.
Well, and I was more looking at the cars and didn't see that, so.
Yep. Well, we had someone else that has apparently crashed.
That is Mr. Mike Burgess. Let's take a quick look. And coming out of the final turn, that looks like another missed braking point.
Yeah, that's the heartburn turn, the Tom's heartburn turn. That'll get you. That's a tough one right there, because
it's the DeWalt turn now, but that's it's just NASCAR selling naming rights to different people throughout the years. I like the Tums because I think a whole lot more accurate right there.
It's a tricky turn. It doesn't feel like you have that much speed, but you're going downhill a little bit, and I mean the car just doesn't want to brake like you want it to.
Well, right now our leader, and this is gonna come as shock to no one, Blake Gordon has opened up over a 3-second gap over Greg Wellen in second there as Greg gets loose.
Oh, Greg, yeah.
Coming out of that turn, he manages to hold on to it. But Justin Anderson right now is right on his heels. And I want to take a quick run back. I got to find it. But Adam Wood actually got around Josh Hanner. Oh, going through the ovals.
I think Hanner might have let up a little bit there, because really Hanner had to have known that he was not racing Adam Wood. I mean, this is not something he has to worry about at all. Race your race, just go out there, do what you can. And I mean, Adam has some speed tonight.
Well, Adam always tends to have speed on the road courses. But right now, Joshua Hanner, and I'm actually going to jump back one more spot, Brandon Bernhardt is under massive pressure from Tony Pandon, and Brandon just needs to hold on to his positions for right now, because where he's at, he's safe. If he loses too many positions, he actually could end up in trouble, even though Andrew Burgess, being as far back as he is, he just needs to keep it clean.
I mean, Andrew Burgess is, look, I mean, if we're just looking at it right now, Andrew Burgess is getting, it's gonna be the fourth guy out. I mean, that's easy math right there. I can just look at that and say he's the guy that's gonna be out. But these things, we got a whole lot of racing ahead of us. So I wouldn't be so confident that's how it's going to finish.
Well, and I guess I should actually make it to where our ticker is counting down the time.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was actually looking to make sure. I thought we could do that.
Yeah, that one's just my fault there. I just completely forgot to change it. But Brandon Bernhardt is just seemingly holding up Tony Pandon right now. But if I'm in Tony Pandon's shoes, I'm okay with that. He's not burning his stuff up. We still have over 10 minutes before the first competition caution. But he gets the job done. He gets down around the inside. Problem is going through the oval 3 and 4, Brandon has the better line, and he's also going to have the better line into 16. He gets the pass done. And now Brandon Bernhardt's under pressure from his teammate of Sean Carmody.
Yeah. As you mentioned, we've got the competition caution will be coming out around the 55-minute mark. So that's one thing we'll be keeping an eye on. But Bernhardt not looking very fast right now.
Well, again, it's
a long race.
I'm going to guarantee he has some people in his ear making sure he's staying calm, because as the standings are, with Andrew Burgess being in 18th, he is actually the last car. He's actually a lap down right now.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm looking at Mike Burgess. Mike Burgess is a lap down.
Yep. But Andrew's a little ways back there. I mean, he's how far is he back now? 43 seconds from the leader.
Well, he's coming through 6 and into 7 right now, while Blake Gordon is finishing the lap.
Yep. So you can see him right there, like, they're on the, he's right in front of him on the oval. Blake still has to go through the infield though.
Well, but again, that
gap's closing down, and I think if Andrew Burgess goes a lap down prior, well, he should, if he can stay. Oh, we got another wreck, Teddy Weichel. Once
again, let's take a quick look. Oh, is it going to be in the exact same place?
Oh, no! Oh, that was... Wow! That was almost bad news for Joe Dinsmore there.
I hope he wore the brown pants today. Oh, that had to be an absolute scare, but I do want to come back. Sean Carmody has made his way around his teammate Brandon Bernhardt, and Brandon is falling back steadily. He's being followed right now by Brian McFerrin, who's only a half second back, and then we have Guile Brooks as Brandon goes into the wall, coming out of 8 and onto the oval. That's going to put him at risk of having Brian McFerrin late break him. And of course the blimp goes behind the scoreboard. Why wouldn't the blimp go behind the scoreboard?
Hey, yeah, the wind patterns and stuff, yeah, it's hard to control a blimp.
You know what? Those guys get paid a lot of money.
That's a good point.
A lot of money. Unfortunately, being an Akron native, I've been in that blimp.
Oh, well, that sounds like a blast.
It actually is, especially when you're only like 7 years old. But right now, this battle that we're seeing for 8th, this is easily the closest thing that we have on track right now. Everybody else is seconds apart.
Just the behind. Who was that? That's 70. So that was. I think Guile Brooks got a little loose exiting that corner. It was a little. Made my heart skip a beat.
But the thing is, if we actually take and jump to Guile Brooks, he's got Brian McFerrin looking right out the back of his car, coming back out onto the oval. Brian McFerrin, while being a little sideways there, that's the way you want to do it. You want to see it get as much of a run out of that as he can. He went a little too hot. But that's going to give him a draft and give him the opportunity to catch up through this section as long as he has a good bus stop.
That looks solid to me.
That was good. We aren't seeing him drop nearly as fast. But let's go ahead, take a quick jump into the Brandon Bernhardt roll bar camera, going through 15, 16, and 17.
Wait, is this the Brandon Bernhardt roll bar camera on Brandon Bernhardt's car?
It is.
Terrific.
Let's do a lap on board with him.
Yeah, this is the happiest I've ever been.
I figured it would make you just that much entertained. Right now, he's going through 3 and 4. Those are relatively slow turns, but then you had the opportunity to get on the throttle. And then 5 and 6 right here. 6 is a treacherous turn to where we can see you're going to crest a hill while you're wanting to get on the throttle as hard as you can. And then
and I know some guys were downshifting there in that turn. He was not. It does not appear to be. He looked like he was keeping it in second there.
No, that's a strategic choice, I would say. Yeah. It's going to make sure you don't send that back end around because the transition onto the oval is treacherous.
Well, and you've got quote unquote, you got qualifying time and you've got race time. And sometimes, in the race, you may start running qualifying laps because you got to make up some ground. But right now, you are being very conservative because you don't want to make any mistakes.
No. As we're coming through the last chicane, we get to see Sean Carmody actually miss that last turn.
Oh.
He's going to get a slowdown penalty there and have to give up the position. But let's go ahead and take a quick run. We actually had an incident. 2 incidents while we were here. Let's start with the most recent of Mr. Gael Brooks.
Yeah. Oh, Gael had issues with all that checking up there. I think.
Yeah, because of Sean.
Oh.
Oh, Sean goes into the heartburn turn, and he just followed him right in. So
see, it is still the heartburn turn.
Well, here it is. And let's see.
That's where I was talking about it. Yeah.
Blake Ziti. Apparently, he also forgot to change his scheme. Just gets really hot coming out of 4, tags the inside wall, and gets himself in a little bit of trouble there.
Just a little bit. It happens.
But Sean Carmody, let's take a look as he's trying to make his way around Brian McFerrin.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to be watching. Pits are going to be closing here in about a minute and a half. I'm curious to see if anybody's going to pit at this point. It would have to be someone that's in the top half of the field if they're going to do it. You can't go. You do not want to go a lap down.
And that's something that everyone would have to take into account. Is it going to be worth it to get yourself cycled up to the front? Because you're not going to be the one that is pitting under caution, so you'll get to run a few caution laps in the lead.
Yeah, there's bonus points there if you're a guy that's on the bubble. Mike Bass having all sorts of issues right now,
as he just got passed by Mr. Johnny Downey in that Milwaukee Tools car. I do love me some Milwaukee. But
Andrew Burgess just had issues again. A lot of guys struggling right now. Andrew Burgess stopped on the front stretch, and he just reset. Burgess had to reset.
Let's take a look and see what happens here. And that's a glitch and a half. That is
heartbreaking.
Unfortunate for him. Yeah, that's a very painful one to see, and unfortunately, we are talking about software, and programmers are fallible.
Yep. Well, I mean, and pit lane has been closed. The only person that went on pit lane was Andrew Burgess because of that incident. So that's it. I mean, nobody took advantage of that. I don't necessarily blame them. I think if you had guys, if all 4 guys that were beneath the cut line were out there, I think you would have possibly seen one of them take advantage of it. But I think everyone out here is trying not to rock the boat too much. They're just trying to keep it safe, consistent, just run some laps.
Well, let's go ahead back on board with our leader, Mr. Blake Gordon, to where we'll probably get to keep an eye on that steering wheel and see some of the smoothest road course wheel inputs we'll get to see for a long time here.
Well, that's assuming we didn't just give him the broadcaster's curse.
Well, if anybody's immune to it, especially on a road course, I'm going to say it's Blake Gordon.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, that is silky smooth right there. And wow, he brakes late there. That is a lot later than I was braking.
Yeah, he's got next to no counter steer in that situation.
He's just super. Let me see. This is a corner I'm really intrigued at. A little bit of counter steer. Oh, yeah, that's smooth. And this right here, this corner right here is tricky. You see him counter steering there. You're going downhill there, and it feels like a really fast corner, but it's going to want to spin on you in that corner, in that turn 2.
As we've seen in the TNT series, that's where a lot of the spins happen.
Yeah.
On this track. And the next great place to see him is right here, as Blake is running that very wide in comparison to what I would anticipate from him.
Well,
and I think that once he gets to the line, he's going to beat the caution. And that's actually going to end up extending the caution a little bit farther. But I'm going to go ahead and jump back here. Mr. Brandon Bernhardt is still chasing down Sean Carmody.
Yeah.
But we have pretty much settled in for the night.
Well, for about 30 more seconds.
Justin Rodden telling us that to make sure and watch him at the Daytona in the trucks.
Okay. But yeah, you're saying that people have kind of settled in. I mean, we got 7 more seconds or so when that caution comes out. Those guys coming in pit. I think you're going to get a lot more aggressiveness. This was kind of like a warm-up.
And there
cautions
is
out.
Caution, and I don't think we have
32,000.
Yeah, I don't think we have 32,000 out there. But that is going to bring us to finding the checker. Everybody's going to have to go basically a full lap. All the guys that are going to be behind the pace car, like Sean Carmody and Brandon Bernhardt, these guys are going to have to just go ahead and fly past the pace car because we're just waiting on Mr. Blake Gordon to catch it.
He's putting on a clinic, and you know, one thing we didn't catch there because we're going throughout the field so much. Justin Anderson did get around Greg Well, at least I don't think we caught that.
No, we missed that. But while we're waiting for everybody to catch the pace car, let's see what happens here. Oh, Greg tags the wall coming back out onto the oval and basically just hands it to Justin.
Yeah, that was right before, just a couple minutes before the caution came out. So he didn't need to hold on much longer. But I'm going to guess, just higher wear, car's behaving a little bit different than you were accustomed to.
So, Carl.
So, Josh.
You were out on track. I definitely wasn't.
Okay, yeah.
What are we looking at for a fuel run here? As Blake's checking up for the pace car.
That's a great question. I didn't even think to check, but how about I pull up some data on that real quick?
Oh, that would be lovely if you could pull that one off for us.
Yeah, I can take a look at some of our teammate data and pull up VRS here.
Because
our
right
lap times,
now we're only 20 minutes into this race.
Yeah.
So are these guys going to go ahead, jump in, get their fuel while it's a free stop? But how many laps are they going to be able to make it after this point?
I mean, I think you absolutely take the free stop right now. We are looking at roughly Oh, what are our fuel settings we run here?
65%.
Okay, and if you're running a test drive, still don't let you. Hang on. Let me see if Bassini was running it in the official practice. 1 hour ago. Perfect. That's what we need, because Hanner was not. Let's see here. Looking like maybe about 20-ish laps.
Okay, so this actually is pretty close to perfectly timed, but we're going to see at least 2 more stops after this point.
Yeah. I mean, of course, green flag stops. That shakes everything up. And this is something that, not to pick on him too much, but Hanner has struggled with this season. He has not been fantastic on pit stops. And having 2 guaranteed green flag pit stops, he needs to be flawless.
He's still better than me.
Well, that's not saying much, Josh.
I know, but he's still better than me.
I mean, look, I still think they're all in decent shape with Andrew Burgess's, unfortunate trouble he had. But he can still recover this, and he also had a points cushion already. I should pull up and see how much of a cushion Andrew Burgess had going into this.
Everyone diving into pit road, we're gonna go ahead, wait and see.
Well, and Burgess had a 3-point cushion, so that's 3 positions on the track. Burgess is in trouble right now. He is in bad trouble for a track that doesn't have. And he should get back on the lead lap here, I believe. But he's in trouble.
And that's unfortunate to see that one of our few Canadians is going to have some issues out there tonight. But I'm wondering, did someone get a lucky dog?
Well, that's what I was saying about Burgess. I would have expected him to get a lucky dog there. I'm trying to look. It doesn't look. I mean, they would have already given out the lucky dog, so perhaps not. And I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So yeah, I think there's no lucky dog there. So Burgess is still going to be a lap down, which is very, very bad for him.
And I'm waiting to see if Justin decides to pull the Kevin Harvick and spin a Blake Gordon coming out of 7 right there. But right now, let's go ahead, take a quick commercial break, hear from the Guitar Attic.
Hi, I'm Randy from the Guitar Attic. Can we be serious for a second? Are you tired of being a loser? Can't do anything right? Feel like everyone's coming down on you all the time? Well, there's a way out. And I'm gonna show you. Hey Mom, look what I learned. That's right, pick up a guitar, learn how to play guitar. Automatically you're gonna become a chick magnet. The ladies are gonna love you. Your kids are gonna think you're cool. So what you need to do is come down here to the Guitar Attic, 16725 Ridgewood Avenue in Daytona Beach, Florida, or go to guitarattic.com and buy yourself a guitar and automatically be the star of your neighborhood. That's guitarattic.com.
And we are back, and we have what is going to be a somewhat painful 3 more laps, or 3 more minutes, as, of course, we know Blake Gordon's hatred of cones is well documented.
Yeah, I think there are several cones out there that would argue that Blake Gordon does not have the best racecraft in the field. Those cones very disappointed with him. But yeah, one thing when we said that commercial, I just want to point out something that our broadcasting colleague Nick Adams does that I saw on the IBRL broadcast last week that I think we should start doing, and that is he takes double commercials. So I could have gotten up and gotten another drink, and now I can't.
Well, you know what? I don't want a drunk Carl broadcasting with me.
I mean, that's the most typical weeks.
I know.
Whoops. No, that was only Friday night, unfortunately.
we're sharing our broadcast secrets.
No, I mean this is a race I had to be stone cold sober for, because this is a well, first of all, it's been a blast so far. These guys are racing. A lot of these guys are not road course racers, and I'm seeing so much improvement from where they were when we started this season. Blake taking out more cones. It's been fun to watch, but also it's a hard race to call. I mean, it's difficult to keep track of everything that's going on these road courses.
Well, but it's honestly, I think part of the reason why I love being in the booth on the road courses, there's constant action. And watching these guys, knowing that most of them are not road course experts, it's actually great to see them show what skills that they have in this medium. And even more than that, knowing that a lot of these guys put in a lot of time to be as good as they possibly can for this race tonight.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've got, there's things like, the fact that there's no full course cautions means that if you make a mistake, you're going to get punished for it hard, because, especially if it's on a restart or something, you're going to have to sit there and wait for the field to go by, and then you can get going. Whereas, at a typical oval, you might, I spun out, and you get a caution, and then, you're right back there together. It's tough for these guys. It's a lot. The stakes are very high.
And especially with the field bunched up as the pace car's about to be peeling off, going into 15, 16, and 17, this is treacherous.
Start it in the chicane. Do it.
Just go, Blake. Go. He's waiting. He's being a gentleman.
Oh, he's gone.
And he's off.
Oh.
And
he's trying to cause chaos right there.
And turn one is going to be where we're probably going to see something. And that camera angle is perfect, where we got to see, didn't look like anyone really had any massive issues.
Yeah, there was some stuff going on with Tony Pandon that I'm trying to see what all happened, because I saw it say that he passed people and he got passed, and not really sure what happened there.
Well,
but
I mean, he's moved back significantly on that restart.
Yeah,
he'll make it up.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you're fast, you're fast, and especially with we've still got 44 minutes remaining. I mean, that is a lot of time around this track. That's plenty of time. I mean, honestly, if I'm Tony Pandon, I mean, look, Tony Pandon at this point is likely going to advance to the next round. Andrew Burgess is down a lap still. There will be no more full course cautions for him to get a lap back. So unless Burgess can somehow do something weird with pit strategy or something, I think he's going to get eliminated here.
I think my math was terrible. We have an incident. It looks like Joe Dinsmore.
I don't think he actually crashed.
I think that was. That looks like. Slow.
Oh, he did have some issues. I'm not sure quite what happened.
Just got a little loose coming out of the bus.
You know what that might have been? He might have been a little uncomfortable with those guys racing him so hard. He knows that he's in a decent position. He just let him by so that he can ensure that he's not going to have any trouble in this race.
And right now, one of the non-chase drivers up 9 positions because he didn't actually set a qualifying lap. Kyle Brooks has moved himself up into 7th place. Let's take a quick run back and see the move. Oh, he just has the low line coming up to the front stretch. That's about as textbook as you can get right there.
Yeah, I just saw here Joe Dinsmore went off track.
Joe reached the point that he's just kind of having some fun.
Well, I was gonna.
Yeah, that was just
Joe is
pushing hard.
Joe is struggling more than I expected him to. I know that Joe is usually a pretty decent road course racer. I came into this. I know that the car handles a lot different than it did at previous road courses. So I was wondering if that would hamper some of these guys that typically do run pretty well. And Joe might be one of those. He has been struggling tonight.
And it does take a lot to get used to this new tire model. If you've spent years driving the old, I'm the first to admit that I am one of them that struggles drastically with this new tire model. Tracks that I was once just acceptable at, I am now terrible at. And we'll go back to the truck race at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
A track I have experience on in real life, and I was terrible.
Right. It was funny coming into this because, you know, our teammate Josh Hanner was telling us, you know, how much he was struggling with this, and I was like, well, I ran it at the Indy Road course, and I didn't really have many issues. And then you guys were like, oh, the tire model's changed a lot, and yeah, tire model's changed a lot. Andrew Burgess just had to jump to the pits again.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Let's take a quick gander, see what happened. Oh, if you do not set this turn up and you get a little too quick on the throttle, which looks like that's exactly what happened there. He just...
Hey, mad respect to him for not trying to get that car going again right there. He knows that he is basically out of it. He could have potentially caused issues for other drivers there. He immediately towed as soon as he could. So props for that. That's a heads-up move.
That's a gentleman move right there.
And he may have just disconnected. He has. Andrew Burgess is out. So I believe, unless there's something wrong with my math, that's going to settle our playoff field, which removes some of the drama. But look, we still got guys racing for bonus points now.
Hey, yeah, that's the big thing. And I want to take a quick look.
We had some issues. Downey and Gottschalk.
Well, yeah, let's take a quick look before I jump. Oh, that's going turn one. That is a very unfortunate place to lose traction. That's going to slow up Steve Gottschalk, but Steve is clearing through. And yeah, that turn 3 or 1 and 2, because of the elevation change, that is just a very, very difficult turn.
I genuinely think it's the most difficult turn on the track. Like, it's not difficult in terms of, like, you know, like technical skills or anything like that. Like, I mean, but it's one of those turns where you think you have the track figured out, and it's like, okay, this isn't so bad, and you can still get tricked by it.
Well, it very much is. It's a throttle control turn. You want to get onto it hard right now as we're looking at Sean Carmody. You want to get hard onto it right there, but if you're a little bit too overzealous as you crest that hill, as we just saw with Johnny Downey, it's going to cause issues.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tricky turns on this track. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure I've spun at every turn on this track, including some of the oval turns. It's a hard track.
Well, a lot of people, myself included, the layout's not dissimilar to the Daytona road course. But the major issue that I see between the two is Daytona is flat. Whereas this has those two locations that there's massive elevation changes in what would be acceleration zones that just make it so tricky. And for me, that makes it so much more fun. Yeah,
no, it's a really fun track to drive. And I'll tell you what, I think you've got camera on the best battle on track right now. You know, we're seeing Sean Carmody, Gael Brooks, and they're not far behind Adam Wood right there. You know, battling for what positions are these?
this is the battle for 5th right now.
Yes.
As we're going on the gearbox of Sean Carmody. Is we're seeing Kyle Brooks not really give too much space.
I think I'm going to start calling this camera the Kevin Harvick gearbox camera.
Oh, too soon.
Do you know why? Do you know why I'm calling it that? Because he spent more time looking behind him when he should have been looking ahead of him, and then he hit the wall.
I'm not going to get into that conversation because, as anybody who's watched the podcast on Friday nights know, I have a tinfoil hat in many situations. After watching the onboard, that was 100% intentional. But right now, Sean, Gael right there had an opportunity. If he really wanted to take it, he could have taken the inside lane. Been on the
Joe
brakes.
Dinsmore is in the pits. So Joe Dinsmore in the pits. I think Joe has realized more than likely with Andrew Burgess being out, there is zero chance of him being eliminated this round, and I'm imagining the other drivers do as well. This is an opportunity to take some swings at things. You know, perhaps he's just trying to short pit everyone, and I don't believe he'll be able to make it to the end from here. Let me do some.
We aren't seeing any motion on that car. I think he's just parked it. And looking at John Gordon's comment, maybe he was letting his daughter drive tonight.
Well, I mean, if that was her driving, she should come out every week.
We've been saying that for ages. He's posted some videos of her running laps. The apple's not falling far from the tree in that situation.
So I did just do the math. We are getting close to a fuel window opening up. Let me see here, because we've got 35 minutes remaining.
We're 8 laps in, sir. And
right, but hold on. But I'm talking about just to, because okay, hear me out here. We are we're looking at about a minute and a half per lap, right? Not quite a minute and a half, but we're saying about a minute and a half. You can get, we said we do 20 laps on a fuel run. That's 30 minutes right there. So 30 minutes for a fuel run, roughly. It's going to be a little bit less than that. It's probably going to be closer to 26 or so. I think you're going to see some guys that are going to pit before that 20 lap point. Because if I'm doing my math right, they can make it on one more stop. It's entirely possible I'm doing my math wrong. So
no, I was doing bad math at the beginning because you should never trust me to do math at any point.
So it wouldn't surprise me to see these guys split it into 16 lap segments. I mean, I think if he can, again, just trying to do some math here. I think if you could make it to, I think 16, you could pit, and then I think you'd be good at the end, maybe.
Without a doubt, there's no way around that. But I wanted to jump back to this battle that we were seeing. It's the only one that's under a second at this point out on track, and unfortunately I think that's only going to get worse as the race wears on unless we get some amazing pit stop drama.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I'm not ruling that out. I mean, again, it's there are opportunities here to take some big swings because of the way this chase system is set up. There's no benefit of finishing this race second. Now that you know you're going to advance, the only thing you've got to worry about is going out there and getting a win. And there are 8 drivers that are now thinking about, I've got to get a win so that I'll have bonus points for the next round. Because you got to think, Greg Wellen got the first win of the round. He's not in the chase, so there's no bonus. Those bonus points are lost.
But Greg Wellen is also currently a lap down.
He disconnected. Greg Wellen disconnected. But he's a non-factor for the chase. Adam Wood is the only person who's going to currently has bonus points for the next round. So, and that's a big advantage. So there are guys out there thinking, I've got to go out and do what I can to get bonus points. They're not worrying about like, oh, well, I guess I could finish second. Like, I think if they realized that when Andrew Burgess, had to unfortunately leave the race, their eyes lit up, and they're like, "Oh, I can go now."
Yeah, there's not going to be, as Adam Wood gets a little bit squirrely going into the bus stop, and that's going to check up Sean Carmody and Guile Brooks.
Sean could have possibly gotten around Adam there, but I think he was just being very cautious and let him get back up on the racing line.
Well, he's being a gentleman right now because Adam
Yeah.
Wood has... as Adam goes over the turtles, and that's going to be a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, that's not great. But what I was saying about taking swings at it. I don't think there's anybody on the track that can beat Blake Gordon right now on the track. He is so fast, but I think there is an opportunity to potentially take some swings at pit stops. I mean, looking at lap times, they're significantly slower than when they pitted. I mean, we're talking about Blake is about 2.5 seconds slower than his best lap.
As we pull up the lap counters, Blake has been nearly a second slower through the last 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be he's
Nursing
being
it
real conservative. Because there's when you reach a certain gap, there's really no point to continue pulling away. You're just burning your tires up. Just let them close the gap a little bit. They're gonna have to get around you, which can be tough. So save your stuff a little bit.
Well, as we can go to the blimp, Justin's still not even within view. But I don't know if Justin Anderson had some kind of an issue.
Hanner made contact there with Justin. We should probably go back and take a look at that because I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, we got to throw it in reverse because Justin had close to 5 seconds. Oh,
wow.
Found it. You know how you made comments about having issues getting onto the oval?
Yeah, there it is. But hey, man, a hell of a recovery there. But Hanner possibly had no idea what was happening. Had no idea he was so much slower. I think potentially that changed up Justin's braking point. That's unfortunate.
That's a hard one to prepare for.
Yep.
But the gap has ended up opening itself back up. But Sean Carmody, this wasn't an intentional thing, but because of that slowdown, Joshua Hanner is now under pressure from Sean, even though he is pulling away at this point. So that brings those guys back into the mix to possibly end up at a podium here.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of guys in the mix suddenly just because of that incident there. I'm looking at Hanner's car. Hanner doesn't look like he has any issues. I'm going to go shoot up to Justin's car, look at his rear.
I don't know if it's a good rear or not to look at. We'll see in a moment here.
Justin's got some damage. It's fine for a road course. And it is ironic that he does have the bumper sticker frequent stops. It might have been more useful if that was a little bit larger so Hanner could have seen it.
But let's take a quick look. It looks like we may have had another issue. Mike Bass had some problems, and just seems to be a lot of people missing braking points going into the bus stop.
I swear I think the braking points change. I'm not joking about that. I think sometimes, obviously, it depends on how hard you're hitting your brakes and stuff, but I think just depending on how hot your tires are, just based on what you've already done, setting up to that point, like, it changes, and you'll hit it in the exact same spot. You feel like you hit it the same way, and it won't stop.
Well, as we go back to Joshua Hanner, he's not dropping Sean, but he is actually making some good headway, except for in the bus stop there. He's making good headway, keeping that gap without too much of an issue going through the rest of the course.
I mean, that's a beautiful turn right there. I think Hanner, and we're talking about Hanner here because we talked to him a good bit before the race, being a racing teammate with him, got some of his perspective, and I know that he struggled a great deal with those chicanes, and he's worked on them. But even seeing what's on track, I mean, it looks evident that Sean Carmody's better at him in the chicanes.
As we go on to his bumper cam here to see Sean, he's putting a gap between him and Guile Brooks, and it looks like turn 6 and 7 may be a bit of a downfall for him right here. If I'm in Hanner's position, rather than sit there and burn my stuff up, even though he gets a great launch coming out of 8 onto the oval, we're going to probably see that gap diminish as he's going into the bus stop here.
Yep. That's not surprising at all. But I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed about here. Sean Carmody is one hell of a road course racer.
He's
I think
one hell of a racer.
Well,
anyway.
that's true too. But we've seen it's taken. I mean, he's growing accustomed to these cars. We saw the same transition happen when he first joined the Truck Series. When TNT first switched to the ARCA cars, he picks them up quickly, but there is a transition time, and he's learning these cars. I think he's going to be a factor in this league for
quite some
a long time to come.
I'm actually going to take a quick jump back as Brian McFerrin has the other matte black car of Blake Ziti right on his bumper, and it looks like Brian may have ended up in the wall going across the stripe and loses the position to Blake Ziti, who has moved up into 9th.
I'll tell you what, you and I were talking about this on private messages earlier in the week, and I was talking about the whipping that Blake and actually Sean as well put on the field in the TNT race Thursday night. Made me look ridiculous out there. I felt like I was a competent racer in the ARCA cars and just dominated. I feel like in the past few weeks, Blake Ziti has just come alive. Like, he's running 9th right now. Okay, that's 9th. That's not a top 5. But, I mean, this is in the AOLL Cup Series. Some of the best drivers in this entire league. And he's running a 9th. I mean, he's putting together a good run tonight.
He is. And seeing the comments coming in on Facebook, Dave, essentially what these guys are doing, it's different from what trail braking is in oval racing. It's basically you're braking through the turns to where you're technically on the brakes until you hit the apex. You're slowly letting off through the process, but they're pretty much, it lets them brake deeper into the turns because you're still braking while you're turning, but it's such a low amount that the engine is still faster than you're anticipating, to where that's why it's a little bit louder.
Yep. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you trail brake, not just to be able to brake longer, but I mean, it's also increasing the grip on the front tires, because just that little bit of braking power, even letting off the accelerator will do that as well by leaning the car forward. But just a little bit braking, just give a little bit more weight on those front tires to help it turn a little bit. So
while we were chatting there, we actually started to see our first round of pit stops, to where Mike Bass, Justin Anderson, Guile Brooks, Adam Wood, Tony Pandon all made their way into the pits. So we should start to see a few more as Sean Carmody and Joshua Hanner are battling it out while we're sitting here chatting.
Yeah, they're having a blast out there right now, and I honestly hope that again, not talking bad about the misfortune of Andrew Burgess. I feel awful about that, because I hate that he didn't get the opportunity to try to race because of a glitch in the game. That's frustrating. That being said, I hope that these guys who were on the bubble understand that they're advancing, so they can go out there. It's they don't have to go out there and do the boring old conservative racing, like, oh, I just got to make sure I have a top 5. Like, they can go out and they can go race now. Like, and I hope those guys know that.
And I'm hoping for that right now, but we're seeing Blake
More
Ziti.
pit stops.
Oh, Teddy Weichel and Guile Brooks made another jump into the pits.
I wonder if he had a speeding penalty.
I'm
What happened?
wondering if that was also a maybe a fast repair.
It's possible, yeah, but I'm looking here. It's possible. I'm not seeing anything that would have indicated that he would have needed one, but yeah. So Guile Brooks in pit road twice. Only dropping back to 10th. That's not too bad. There's still guys that have to pit, so yeah, not the worst in the world.
Yeah, as we're still waiting for a top 5 to, well, actually, all the way up to Mr. Justin Anderson in 6th, who is now putting the pressure on Brandon Bernhardt, who has not pit. Those fresh tires are going to be fast.
Yes, they are. I mean, I mentioned again how much of a fall off there was. I mean, it's not insignificant. But yeah, I think the guys just.
Well, I want to bring up the tower here to where we can show the last lap times. Justin Anderson is 2 seconds faster than Blake Gordon right now.
Wow.
On those fresh tires on his last lap, and that was with traffic.
Yeah, that's impressive right there. It's going to make a difference, I think, because sure, Blake Gordon will have those faster lap times. He'll be faster than Justin once he does pit, but then there's a possibility he'll have to get around Justin. So getting around someone on track is a lot harder than getting around them through pit strategy.
And he's making his way up. He's got an 18-second gap to Joshua Hanner in 3rd right now. I think that the short pit is going to end up working out for Justin Anderson, because Blake is probably just going to run this dry so he has those tires to make it to the end. And he's just going to be blisteringly fast. He's getting the tank, run it dry to where he doesn't have to put as much fuel into it, because we aren't going to have green-white checkers under any circumstances. Make it where you've got fresh tires, light fuel load, and just tear away from everyone.
Well, we should say there won't be green-white checkers unless, like, it's you and me running race control like we did on on Friday night.
They do not trust us to run race control because, yeah, we'd probably do something stupid like that and just have some fun.
Hey, you and I actually did get to run race control one race, if I'm not mistaken. I think we did it at the Bristol dirt track. Because it was giving people weird black flags. So it wasn't race control. It was just clearing black flags when people got weird.
Oh, that was when the iRacing glitch was there, that it would start throwing people to the tail end and having people pass people for no reason.
Well, no, it was before that. It was basically they'd be driving around, and I think it was detect that they tried to enter the pits and would give them a speeding penalty, if I remember correctly.
I do remember that because
Yeah.
I got hit by that far too many times.
Yeah, and earlier with that issue with Guile, John Gordon, kind of what I was thinking, said he looked like a stop-and-go penalty. That's kind of my thoughts as well. Because even when he came in, he didn't look like he had any damage. So probably a stop-and-go, but yeah.
Right now, Joshua Hanner jumps into the pits. Sean Carmody did as well, and Sean actually gets back out into what is effectively 2nd. But I cannot remember. No, Adam Wood actually came into the pits. So Adam Wood is sitting in 3rd right now.
But effectively 2nd. Because Blake Gordon still has to pit.
I like his idea of run it dry.
Oh, I don't disagree. Especially once you come this far. Once you come this far, I think you either have to be one of the first pitting or you run it dry, in my opinion. I'm not usually crazy about like I'll just split the difference. Like, just do one of the two strategies.
Apparently we also
usually the way
missed,
it works out.
We missed Blake's pit stop. As
How did
Adam
we
Wood,
miss that? I have been literally staring at his
hey Adam, you need to
name
throw
up
it in
there.
reverse there, buddy. As Adam Wood has some issues, and that's going to give Joshua Hanner the position. But right now,
You know what it is? You know what it is? So I've been looking out of the corner of my eye, because, you know, just to explain to some people how our setups typically are, and I know yours is a little bit different than mine, but I've got on my main monitor, I've got it split in half. I see Josh's stream so that I can, you know, see what we're looking at right now on the broadcast, and I've got my iRacing window pulled up, just showing incident, so I can, you know, see everything going on there. And on my other monitor, I have the our timing and scoring. And I think what happened is I usually see out of the corner of my eye a name moving quickly. I know that means that someone got in a wreck or they pitted. And I think Blake's name never moved. He was in first the whole time. So that's why I never even noticed he pitted.
right now Joshua Hanner running in fifth has Brian McFerrin and Adam Wood right on his bumper, waiting for any kind of a mistake to pounce on. Because I'm sure Adam Wood actually gets the pass done on Brian McFerrin. Let's take a quick look to see what happens here. Oh, Adam just gets the great jump coming out of 8. Now it's time for him to go ahead and chase down Joshua Hanner and get that position back from that little bit of shunt.
Yeah. I'm trying to look, see if we got any battles on the track. How about, yeah, there you go.
Gonna come up here to where Sean Carmody is, right up on Tony Pandon, looking for his way around.
Well, he's got fresher tires. Carmody has fresher tires than Tony Pandon, about 4 laps fresher.
Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Hit the wrong button. As he's taking the long way around, and that should be able to give him the position, and it does. And now it's off to the races, trying to close that 8-second gap to Justin Anderson, who's on 4-lap older tires.
So one thing I like to do, based on what I saw Dave Wright out there post, something I'd like to ask him, especially on the truck broadcast, I like to, for people who are watching and want to hear who you're cheering for, Dave's got Adam. I'm going to assume John Gordon is cheering for Justin Anderson.
I mean, he did correct me when I said that Justin would give him the tip and spin him around between 7 and 8. So I'm going to assume that John's going to go with the blood relationship there and the safe bet of Blake Gordon.
he said you betcha. So you were wrong. He's all about John Gordon, or sorry, about Justin Anderson. So yeah, we got Justin Anderson fan out there.
But I don't know if it's saying that it's 14 to go. Okay, it's actually 14 minutes to go. I'm just wanting to make sure there. But Sean is actually seemingly a little bit faster right now, and closing down that gap on those fresh tires by close to a half a second.
Yeah, once again, 4 laps fresher tires, and that'll even out a bit. But right now, he's going to make up some ground, and we're going to see if he'll be able to make it up quickly enough to potentially get around Justin Anderson for second.
Oh, that would be a fantastic run. He started back in the pack. I think he was the last person to set a lap time in qualifying. But he's having a great run tonight, getting himself up into the positions to honestly be battling for this.
And one thing I want to point out here, Sean Carmody has 1 win in the Cup Series, and it was at the Indy Road Course, a relatively similar track. I mean, obviously they're different in a lot of ways, but you know, you talk about a track that has an oval component, so there are high-speed portions, there are very technical portions. So in many ways, very similar. Sean Carmody could be a factor in this race.
I mean, he's a factor in any race to where
Well.
he has managed to cut out a significant chunk of that gap to Justin Anderson right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gaining. I mean, how far is he back right now?
6 seconds.
He's 6 seconds, so it's still quite a bit, but he's working on it.
And right now, we are looking at it. Okay. It has. Okay, that's the gap to the leader.
Yep. Yeah, there's settings. Yeah.
But if we look at the last lap times, Sean is faster.
He's faster than his teammate Blake Gordon as well. I mean, there's a sizable gap there between him. He's 15 seconds behind Blake.
But with 12 to go, you have to think Justin Anderson and taking over second place. That's gonna be the goal. But I'm gonna take a quick jump back right now. As Teddy Weichel is losing a position to Brian McFerrin, who's making his way back, as we have Guile Brooks, who said he started making dumb mistakes and decided to park it. I was kind of wondering why we didn't see him. He's still sitting in the pits and currently has a pit lane time of 10 minutes, so that makes sense.
Yep, I've had those nights. I've had those nights where it's just like, it's not. And he was having a great night, so I'm not gonna say it wasn't going well for him, but you start making mistakes, they kind of start piling up, and perhaps the track changed and it didn't really suit him, or maybe it was just got in his own head. Sometimes it's better to park it. There's no reason to go out there and, first of all, potentially ruin someone's race, but also sometimes it's just miserable to have to run around when you cannot figure it out.
And when we're talking about an hour and 15 minutes worth of racing, and no one out here is really making massive sponsorship dollars, you know what? Just go ahead. Sometimes it's better for your mental health to sit here, watch me and Carl make fool of ourselves.
Yeah.
And
we certainly do that.
yes, we're good at that. But we'll look at Mr. Blake Gordon, who's making his way around some lap traffic. Right there in the rear view is Steve Gottschalk, who's, again, just out there running his race, getting a little extra seat time on the road courses.
Yeah.
And just having some fun. And
Well, and Blake has been, to no one's surprise, honestly, has been dominant in this race since the green flag. But I want to give a shout out to Endeavor Racing as a whole. It's not looking like they're going to have the top three finishers like Closed Circuit Racing had on Wednesday night. Just a little,
I was
bragging
for
there.
that one to come in.
But I mean, they've got 4 of their drivers in the top 8 right now, right? Yeah. I mean, heck of a run tonight. Again, really no surprise with that either. But yeah, just a great run for Endeavor Racing.
No, they're easily one of the most skilled teams, top to bottom. And honestly, at this point, probably better than CCR would be on this race tonight.
Oh, I don't think so. I think I'd probably be running in first.
But we also have to take into account right now, you've got 3 Steel Horse guys in the top 10. With Justin Anderson in second, Adam Wood 6th, Brian McFerrin in 9th. Had Joe not decided to park it for the night, he would have been up there.
I was going to ask how many Steel Horse. You say there's 3 Steel Horse drivers in the top 10. How many Steel Horse drivers are there outside of the top 10? That's
one.
Just making one of my jokes about Steel Horse being a really large team.
Oh, as Blake Gordon has a very rare mistake. I gotta see that one again.
I don't believe that was a mistake. I think he realized, look, we talked to Blake a lot. I think he was throwing us a bone there. He knew we needed some drama. It was actually that he was trying to make a pass there, and I think he just missed his braking point.
Yeah, and it's a difficult place to make the pass, and we have the slow down penalty, but that's definitely going to bring a little bit of extra drama into this, because that's a terrible place to have to lose speed going into the oval 3 and 4.
Well, it's as about as much drama as you can have for someone 6 seconds ahead of second place, but one more of those mistakes, and we might be able to fit him and Justin in the same camera shot.
I'm not holding my breath with only 7 minutes left in this race.
No, I'm not either. I mean, I'm joking here, but Blake is such a smooth driver at any course, and at a road course especially. You'll watch him. He does every lap the exact same. It's like a robot is driving the car. It's incredible.
It very much is, and I'm going to take that jump back one spot on the gearbox of Justin Anderson to where we can see that little speck in the distance. Sean Carmody can see Justin now.
We've got a very real shot of there being a Endeavor top 2 here. And I mean, that's exactly how it was shaping up to be at the Indy Road Course. I can't remember if that's how it finished or not. But
there may have been a little incident with Blake and Sean, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
or no, it was Blake ended up getting tangled up with someone else. I can't remember who it was. It may have been
Greg. Yeah. And Blake did
point
finish second in that race, so we might just have an inverse of what happened at Indy Road Course tonight. But first, Sean has to catch Justin Anderson, and then he has to get around him, and that's not a guarantee.
And knowing Justin as well as I do, he's not going to give that up.
Well, no, I mean, there's no reason to. I mean, you're going to race courteously, you're going to race like a gentleman. But you're still racing. Like, there's no reason just to pull over and let someone by. You're racing for position. It's near the end of the race. Let's go, baby. Let's have a race here.
No, without a doubt, as we're coming to the fast section of the track, love getting to see the absolute speed that these guys have through the oval section of the track. Just flying.
Yeah, I love it too. And when they first announced this race was going to happen, before they really announced like what the track was going to look like, I was really hoping that the chicanes wouldn't be there. They just let them go wide open, and then going into turn 1, they just had to drop it down from like close to 200 down to 40, 50, whatever the hell you go through there, and we were seeing like brake rotors starting to explode, and all that would have been fantastic.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, it's not dark enough out there for us to be able to see those beautiful glowing brake rotors. Honestly, that would be fantastic viewing, but as a driver, I would hate that.
Well, you know what I think we need for this race next season in the AOLL? We need some rain on the track.
I can't wait for iRacing to throw that out. Be able to have that one variable thrown in that could make or break someone's race, and rain makes everything harder.
Yeah, no joke. Well, so we're still here with Justin Anderson. 4 minutes ago, Sean Carmody's right there. We're going to be looking at. We're probably 3 to 4 laps away from this thing finishing. Oh, Justin has trouble.
As he locks up and ends up getting a little contact there, but relinquishes the position to Sean. And I would say that was self-preservation there on Justin's part. He probably could have defended more, but you know what? A third going into this, it's bragging rights rather than points at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to take first, it's absolutely bragging points. But at the same time, Blake could still have issues. There's no guarantee. Like, second place could be the winning car if, for instance, Blake's trying to get around another car and has issues. Or let's say something random happens, like his internet goes out. I mean, there are all sorts of variables at play here. I mean, with 3 minutes to go, sure, second place may just be bragging rights, but it could also win you the race.
I'm going to say right now, for all the Blake Gordon fans out there, Carl doesn't have a voodoo doll. He's not trying to give the commentator's curse to Blake Gordon. As
you don't know that.
We're going to go to the blimp cam to see if there's any lap traffic around him right now, which there is not.
Are there any thunderstorms in his area?
I think the nice sunny weather that we're currently seeing in Charlotte in the sim.
Oh no, I mean in real life. So, you know, I mean,
there was a massive storm that.
Yeah. I'm just saying a disconnect is possible, and don't put words in my mouth and say that I'm not trying to put the curse on him, because everyone knows my new favorite driver is Justin Anderson, not Blake Gordon. But I may switch back to Blake, just depending on who wins more. I pick winners. But I only pick them after they win.
You are a front runner. There's no way around that, especially with what we're seeing here. But Justin Anderson actually gets himself back around Sean Carmody, and they are fighting hard through the infield section.
Yes, they are. I mean, that is a heck of a battle. Best battle on the track, and it's for second. Justin wants this position back, and he's going to fight for it here. Takes out some cones.
And he's going to pull a little bit of a Blake Gordon there with some cone hatred.
Oh, man. He is giving it everything he can right now.
Oh, we just had Steve Gottschalk crash, and I'm trying to figure out where Steve is.
You keep it on the battle. You keep it on the battle. I'll take a look at that incident and see if it's interesting.
My guess is it was nothing more than blowing a chicane.
Nope, it was getting on. Yep, it was getting back onto the oval. He got a little bit tight and went up into the wall. No real big incident.
Yeah, well.
Let's stay on this battle.
I'm going to take a quick run back and see Sean actually passing Justin. Here, this was the original lockup from Justin Anderson. And then, let's see what happened. Sean just has an issue coming off of the final turn, and Justin takes it back over, but it was short-lived, as diving himself down on the inside, coming out of 4, gets the position back.
But I think at this point, it looks like Justin may have used up all of his stuff. Sean is now starting to pull away here.
But we should be
getting the white flag here soon.
As Blake Gordon passes by, we may actually have it out now.
I'm not seeing it on mine. I've got the full interface pulled up. It's not showing white flag on mine, so I think it'll be this time around. He'll get the white flag, and we'll have one to go.
All right, as time has expired, I would have figured. Nope, it is.
No, there it is. It never showed the white flag on mine. I have no idea why.
Blake Gordon with an absolute clinic, sans one incident, brings it home for the win, the bonus points, and an assured entry into the next round, but that was never in question.
Hey, I just got some good news here. The timing and scoring just informed me that I passed Steve Dominy for P19. So I finished 19th in this race. Yeah, 19th. I'll take it. I finished ahead of Piscini.
All right. As we're waiting for the rest of the results, I want to see this Justin Anderson crash.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and see what happened. I guess he was just messing around.
Yeah, he crossed the stripe and decided to put it right into the barrier. Oh, at least, you should have actually gone all the way into it.
So we don't have updated point standings yet, but I can tell you now who was eliminated. Assuming there aren't some weird penalties or something, I don't know. But we're going to have this round eliminated are going to be Andrew Burgess, Coney Pandon, Ed Springer, and Kevin Haas. right? That was. Hold on, I may have gotten that wrong.
It
was Kevin Haas, Ed Springer, Tony Pandon.
Any.
Yeah. That is who I believe. Sorry, not Tony Pandon. I'm sorry, not Tony Pandon. It was Tim St. Jean. Sorry.
Yes.
As
Blake has finished his lap and is burning the tires down, let's run through our results for the night. We have Blake Gordon with the win, Sean Carmody in second, Justin Anderson third, Tony Pandon in fourth, Joshua Hanner fifth, Adam Wood in sixth, Blake Ziti in seventh, Brandon Bernhardt eighth, ninth is Brian McFerrin, and 10th is Tenny Weichel.
in 11th, we have Johnny Downey. 12th, Steve Gottschalk. 13th, Gail Brooks. 14th, Mike Bass. 15th, Joe Dinsmore. 16th, Greg Wellen. 17th is Andrew Burgess. And in 18th, Mike Burgess. Is that all the...
Yeah, that's all the people that actually
It's everyone that
ran.
participated. Okay.
So let's go ahead and bring up our winner as Blake is declaring war on cones while he still can. That's not the right Blake. Why? Could you
want me to
pull
do
him
it?
up? Yeah.
Nope. I got it. Hey, Blake, it's Josh and Carl in the booth. Got a copy?
Yep. What's going on, guys?
Very first question I have for you here, because I think this is the most pressing question I could possibly have at this point. What do you have against cones?
I don't have anything against them. It's just fun to hit them.
I mean, are you sure? Because it seems like there's actually some hatred there.
No, there's just a lot of blue cones here to hit. And, you got to keep yourself entertained sometimes during yellow flags and, post race. So, if they're there, I'm going to hit them.
Well, we certainly appreciate you hitting cones rather than drawing things in your burnout.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I tried something creative here with this one. I kind of jumped the turtles and then went right into the burnout. I'm glad that worked out okay.
Yeah, it would have been an Arca break kind of moment had you messed that one up, and otherwise I look at it as that's a positive moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun race. Glad it's over. It was long.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the 115 minutes. Considering most of the time these are basically decided after the first green flag stop.
Yeah, well, I'm not the person to ask about that for a 115-minute race and, why we, increased in length here. But to me, it was just more laps. I'm glad it didn't really do anything weird with like fuel mileage. My concern was like, okay, an hour-long race, pit at 20, should have enough gas maybe to get to the end. But then it's like, is this going to be a situation where we pit and then we're like on fumes coming to the finish? So that was my only concern, is like, what it would do to fuel mileage.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It certainly opens up a lot of variables, but we saw out there, I want to bring up, we talked about how flawless your race was, because it was. I mean, you nearly perfect, but you did have that one mistake in the chicane on the backstretch. Can you tell us what happened there?
Well, for the last 44 laps, I had been entering the chicane up near the wall at speed, knew where the braking point and everything was. And then trying to get past one of the lap cars, they take the high line, tell me to go low. Now I'm coming at the corner in a completely different line at speed, don't know where the brake point is. All of a sudden, the whole visual changes. So totally missed the brake point there. In that situation, I would have preferred to have the racing line there to get into the corner. But, it was no big deal. Had like a 4-second slowdown, but thankfully I had enough of a gap to Justin where that didn't ruin the race, because that would have been a hell of a way to lose it. Something as stupid as that, but was able to recover, had enough time, and was able to stay out in front.
So what was going through your mind at the very beginning of the race when we're used to rolling starts and suddenly we had a stationary start?
Oh, my first response was, oh no, this again? Because, this isn't the first time we've,
Right.
Accidentally had a standing start in an oval race. But honestly, the once the lights went out, I mean, it kind of took off okay. It's a short run down to turn 1, so my initial concern was wheel spin off the start, so it took it nice and easy. And then anyone trying to get, how do I say this?
Cheeky.
I don't know if anyone wanted to go like just, full send into turn 1. I mean, that was on my mind, but like, these cars aren't meant to get rolling from a stop like that. So glad it worked out okay. Justin and I were already talking about how we were going to handle the pace lap, because for some dumb reason we can't, skip the final chicane, so the green flag comes out as we're in the chicane. It's just like the silliest, crap ever. But in that case, I think the standing start, actually, I preferred it.
Yeah,
really
but it
good
still
point.
turned into surprisingly clean on the competition caution restart, but basically everybody ended up single file. And
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, I kind of hate is, we take the green flag in the chicane, well, everyone else now has to come through the chicane. So, like, if for whatever reason you had, like, a speeding penalty or anything, like, the field is going to get so spread out now coming through that chicane for the green flag, unlike in real life where they're all bunched up, they skip the chicane, and they're all packed together. So maybe that's something iRacing can work out for next year, maybe.
So obviously advance to the next round. It was guaranteed even without the win, but you'll be going into this next round with some bonus points. Martinsville is part of this round, so we know that will likely be a very good run for you. But we have seen at tracks that could potentially have good runs at, whether it's like cautions or whatever, have messed you up. So I want to ask you, like, we get Texas, you get Chicagoland coming before Martinsville. What's your strategy going into that? Are you going to be trying to take advantage of the fact that you have a points lead and just sort of give yourself a cushion for Martinsville so you can kind of go for the win? Or are you just been going for a win right away with those two tracks?
I got to be realistic. Texas, probably top 2, top 3 would be a good night for me there. If Hanner shows up, that's probably his race. Justin, same thing. Those guys know how to work those mile and a half with like the flat banking. Chicagoland, I actually like. So that will hopefully be a fun race. Hopefully hopefully the surface changes and everything, and the setup, hopefully it's a good one, and we can actually get some good racing going on there. And then, yeah, of course, I mean, Martinsville, my favorite track in the last race of the round. So honestly, just going to try to keep it safe as always. I mean, even my bad nights are like seconds or thirds right now. So it's really hard to complain with those. So just trying to finish well at Texas, Chicagoland. And yeah, of course I'm going to go try to win Martinsville. That's my favorite track to race. So definitely want to get out there and win it.
isn't it also technically your home track?
Technically it's Richmond. That's about an hour and a half away from Virginia Beach. Martinsville is like on the other side of the state entirely, up in the mountains. Well, not in the mountains, but like it's in like the whole like western part of the state that like I've only been out to once, coincidentally, to a Martinsville race. So,
well, you could also just pretend to be Martin Truex Jr. and just claim every track is your home track, as they used to do a few years ago. But hey, man, great run tonight. I'm sure we will be talking to you again in the near future.
Yeah, I hope so. If I'm talking to you guys, chances are the night went well, even, if things didn't go well and finished second or third. And if it's a race I feel like I should have won, can't really complain if I'm talking to you guys. But I do want to say I'm really disappointed. I think Piscini had like an equipment malfunction before the race.
Yeah.
He was super fast in practice, and I was really disappointed he couldn't make the race because I feel like he would have been like the contender tonight. It would have been fun to race with him. So if he's listening and if he goes back to listen to this, I'm bummed that he couldn't make it because I feel like that would have been a fun fight.
Yeah, we'll make sure he hears that. And again, thank you, Blake. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. Thanks again for doing the broadcast as always, and talk to you guys maybe tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yep. See ya.
That was Blake Gordon. I guess we should bring up another Endeavor Racing driver, Sean Carmody. Hey, Sean, it's Josh and Carl in the booth. Get a copy?
Copy, guys.
Really great run tonight, man. We're seeing you kind of come into your own these road courses in the Cup Series. You won at Indy road course. But what I want to ask you, you had those fresh tires. You got around Justin. He got around you. Y'all went back and forth. Tell us about that battle there.
Yeah, I didn't think I had a chance. Adam, he pitted before us, so his tires, when I first came out, were fresh, and then I guess they burned off. And I was looking at how many laps were left, and I was trying to reel him in. And the last thing I wanted to do was damage his car or anything, because I know he's in the points. So it seemed like he made a small mistake, and then we were drag racing down the straightaway. We got together a little bit. And then I just blew a corner. Like 2 laps later, I blew a corner, jumped the chicane, and got a 4-second penalty. Well, maybe not that severe. It was a couple seconds, but he got me back. And then I wasn't going to do anything crazy to try to get around him again because I didn't want to cause any more damage. But I made a clean pass and took it home for second.
Yeah, we're going to start to expect this out of you on the road courses in these cars. So
I don't know what it is about road courses, but yeah, I seem to have some success with these. But when I only got to turn left, I haven't figured it out.
Well, but you're still doing a lot better than just about any of the other TNT guys that have come up to the Cup Series. So you're still doing pretty well on the ovals as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when we're all together, we're running very similar too. So you got to give yourself some credit there. We were battling just a couple days ago, I remember. So yeah, no, there's some really good guys in this Cup Series and some new names and guys that have probably been around for a few years and are always in the top 5. Blake being one of them, Justin, Josh Hanner. So anytime I see those guys in front of me, I think I'm doing pretty well.
No, it was a great run from you tonight. The second time in as many road courses that we've got to see you up here on the podium. Unfortunately, this time around it wasn't a win, but it was still great run. Great time getting to watch you work your way up through the field, and gave us some of the most of the entertainment that we got throughout the race tonight.
Well, that's good. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. Yeah, it was. I started the back. I had a rough qualifying, couple of loose moments, and started. But the standing start was a bit tricky. But I think I gained 2 positions right there. Trying to be cautious. I didn't want to do too much damage by diving in there deep. But I think everybody was cautious at that point. It was just a matter of, capitalizing on as many positions as I could get. But overall, I'm happy with it. I came out relatively clean, other than that small incident with Justin. And it looks like his car wasn't harmed too bad, so he came out in third, and that's good.
So when I ask you, you're not in the chase here. You're kind of able to go into these next 6 races just sort of without really any kind of obligations other than, trying not to get entangled up with any of the chase drivers. But, typically whenever I'm racing in any series, I have kind of realistic goals set up, like, things that I want to do. And if you do the same thing, I'm curious what your goals are for the next 6 races. What are you aiming to do?
Most importantly, just here to have fun. I'm happy with probably top 7, depending on who shows up. But a top 7 is always a goal of mine. That anything less, I don't feel like I've done the best performance. But and it also depends on where I'm qualifying. Here was going to be a little more tricky because it's a little bit harder to pass. But yeah, no, not a podium. A podium is not expected, but definitely appreciated. Top 5, definitely happy with. Top 7, a little more work. Anything outside of that, got to hit the practice track.
Got you, man. Yeah, that's about how I treat it as well. So that's good to hear, man.
Yeah, no, it was, these are always a good mix-up, so it was a lot of fun running. It's a shame that you guys aren't in here. I'd like to see some more cars, some more familiar faces. Yourself, I know you and Josh are good at road courses too, so you would have been there mixing it up.
I ran some practice laps, and I was struggling a little bit with this setup. It was a little looser than I like at a road course, so I would have had to put in some extra practice if I was running tonight. But do appreciate those kind words, and we love running with you too, man. We're hoping we'll get to do it again soon.
Absolutely, yeah. The car was loose, but it was, yeah. You had to tiptoe it around. I don't think I ever got to full throttle unless I was up on those big banks. It was mainly second gear, but I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully Wednesday.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Josh, you got anything else?
No, like I said, I've you pretty much covered everything. So, yeah, great run tonight.
Right.
Look forward to chatting with you on another evening, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Excellent, guys. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Take it easy.
All right.
All
I wanna
right,
bring
so-
up Justin for one single question.
All right, one question for Justin Anderson.
Hey, Mr. Anderson, this is Josh and Carl in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, yeah, what's going on?
I have
Hey,
one
Justin.
single question.
I just wanted to say, Justin, it's good to hear your voice.
Thanks. It's good to hear your voice too. And you know, I pitted early trying to do a Los Angeles Chargers comeback, but it didn't quite work out.
Oh.
It's the reason why I didn't want to pull you up here, but I have one single question for you.
What's up?
How did you lose it coming out onto the oval?
Oh, when I almost spun out. So I had my F3 up because I was paying attention to what everybody else, I was trying to see what the gap was to everybody else. And I took my eyes off because I wanted to see how much time was left because I was trying to debate when I was going to pit. So I took my eyes off the track and I had it matted, which I should have known better than to do that anyway because the tires were so worn at that point that you really shouldn't have been full throttle. It's just a loss of concentration. I'm a moron, and that happened.
Well, it ended up causing some accordion effect down the field. But it was good to see you recover and battle with Sean for a while. And
Yeah, it was a fun battle with Sean. He pitted a little bit after I did, so I think his tires were fresher than mine. I had to do something because, the whole middle part of this race track, the whole infield runs like a short track, and Blake is so good at them that there was obviously no way I was going to run him down that way. But Carmody's good at short tracks too, and road courses also. So it's not surprising that he got around me. It's just disappointing that it happened so late. I would rather him pass me like right after the pit stop so I could just watch him drive away. But when you lose it that close to the end, it's always frustrating.
Outside
I know
of that
that
one
feeling.
incident, it was not quite a Blake clinic, but it was still a nice, solid run. Only got to see a few gaffes. Only one that actually kind of hurt you.
Yeah, I only choked a couple times. I'm pretty happy with this run. Anytime I get to talk to you all is a great evening for me. So thanks. Now I can sleep soundly tonight.
Well, that makes me happy. And it was a good run. We aren't going to hold you for long because I'm sure it's bedtime since I think you have to go into the city tomorrow.
I do want to say I was blessed to finish third because, of course, if Chris Passini's load cell hadn't died, he probably would have finished first or second probably. So sucks. I really want to shout out to him because he was great in practice. So, it was disappointing to see that happen to him.
Yeah, no less. It was a good run, a good way to close out the round, and we'll probably get to chat with you at least once more before the end of the year.
I sure hope so. Have a great night, y'all.
Yep, thank you, sir. All right, that's going to do it for us here at Ghostfire Media. The standings have been updated.
All right.
So, as we had already expected, Blake Gordon is in first coming out of the round of 12. Adam Wood in second. Justin Anderson in third. Steve Gottschalk fourth. Brandon Bernhardt fifth. Joe Dinsmore is tied for fifth. Tony Pandon is in seventh. And Joshua Hanner in eighth, which means we are losing Andrew Burgess, Ed Springer, Timothy St. Jean, and Kevin Haas. And going into the next round, the only two that have bonus points are going to be Blake Gordon and Adam Wood. So they are going to have a 3-point jump on the rest of the field. So we'll have to wait and see how much of a difference that's going to make.
Yeah, I think it's going to make a difference, so we'll have to see. But, hey, I know I interrupted you last time. You were going to go through the schedule for the week. Do you have the schedule of the week you want to go through?
I very much do.
Well, how about you go through it?
So tomorrow night, catch us at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Fuel Racing League. Tuesday night, the IVRL. Wednesday, we start... well, actually, both in the IVRL and the AOL Sportsman Series, we start the next round of the playoffs. Fuel, it's the last 8. Sportsman, it's the last 12. Thursday, catch us for the AOLL TNT Series. Friday night, catch us for the podcast, as always, where we will get to laugh at Nick Adams a little bit and laugh amongst ourselves, have a few drinks, and just have a good time. And next Sunday, catch us at 8 o'clock for the AOL Cup Series, starting the next round of the playoffs with 8 drivers. And Fuel starts, the broadcast will start at 6:45 Eastern, with the racing starting at 7.
Not Fuel. That's IVRL.
IVRL, sorry. It's past my bedtime.
Fuel broadcast starts just before 8, I believe.
No, 9.
Sorry, just before 9. That's a big gap between those two. Yep.
Yeah, we're kind of all over the place on times, but the only night that we don't have something fun for you is Saturday nights, and hopefully
that's our night.
You're off having fun just like we do. So that'll do it from us at Ghostfire Media. I'm Josh Laston.
And I'm Carl Henderson.
Have yourselves a good evening.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.